welcome to the first telecast of Continental Cablevision's coverage of William and Mary soccer. My name is Charlie Hensel. I'll be doing the play-by-play, and with me is Peter Colaris, former William and Mary player from the 1980 NCAA quarterfinalist team. Peter, you had an opportunity prior to today's game to speak with a number of the key personalities involved with the match. And maybe what we need to do right now is to go to those interviews in order to set a little bit of the tone for the game we're going to watch this afternoon.
And, I'll be doing the color commentary with Charlie Hensel for the Continental Cablevision. We'll be covering the William and Mary Hartwick soccer game today. And here's Coach Albert of William and Mary. I'd like to ask him a couple questions. Coach, in the past you played big powers during your first games. Penn State comes to mind, Connecticut. You're playing Hartwick today, which, as many soccer fans know, is, again, a very big power. Do you think the preseason's gone well to prepare you for such a big challenge in the first game?
Well, Pete, I think the preseason has gone very well. Unfortunately, it's been too short. We started on August 18th, and today's September 1st. That's about 12 or 13 days to prepare for what could possibly be the toughest game of the season. And we're looking at this game as a test of our ability to play with a team like Hartwick, but I think to assume that we've done enough work in 12 days to be able to definitely go out and hammer a team like this is guessing. We'll be very happy if at halftime is 0-0. We'll hope to go after them in the second half and get the win. But as I say, I think it's too early for a game like this to have any real significance for our season.
This early in the season, there are several players, I guess, on each team, and again on this team, that you're going to look to sort of bear the burden early, because some players just aren't ready, I guess, this early. But I know, which veterans are you looking to just settle the team down?
Well, up front, obviously, Scott Bell's going to have a major role. He's our returning scorer with 13 goals last season as a freshman. Todd Middlebrook, the captain, will be in the center midfield spot, and he's a very important player for us in terms of winning the ball and tracking Hartwick's best midfield player in the center. Our back four is very experienced. That's probably the strength of our team, with Andy Smolin, Rich Miranda, Scott Repke, and Glenn Livingston, all starters, returning all solid starters. And I think that nucleus of players is going to hold our team together. We have a very unusual team this year in that of the 25 players, only 12 of them were actually on the team last year. We have 5 sophomores who didn't play in the game for us last year, and 8 freshmen. So it's really an unusual William & Mary team. We have a nucleus of very good returning players, and then we have a lot of raw talent.
Now, again, this is a question I guess is asked just about every coach in the beginning. So what are your goals for this year? I know you've had a very successful program in the past. Last year you made the NCAAs. In 1980 you won the regional championship. What are your goals for this year?
My personal goals for this year for this team is to have another successful winning season. I think to put the burden on this team to be as good as last year's team and make the NCAA tournament wouldn't be fair, even if I was absolutely positive in my own mind that we were going to make it, because with so many good teams in the region and the ultimate decision going down to a selection committee, it's very difficult to say that you're definitely going to be a tournament team. But I think this team gets along very well. We'll play very hard together. We have enough key individuals that can score big goals in big games and create a solid defense. So I think it's safe to say that we should be able to have another good season here at William & Mary.
One last question. I know that in the past, very good teams have come into Cary Field and have left not very happy with the result, because William & Mary's done very well. What do you think it is about playing here in Cary that makes William & Mary so successful against teams like Penn State? And
well, Peter, as you know, the size of the field is a big factor. It's a minimum NCAA width, 110 by 65. That's not our doing. That's just the nature of the layout of Cary Field. And I think the fact that the size of the field makes the game much quicker than it would be on a larger field. We are not a particularly fast team, but we have a lot of quickness and individual skill. And I think a team like ourselves does better on a field like Cary Field. Also, I think when we get down this end, we've shown that we score a lot of big goals at this end, whether it's the proximity of the people behind the goal and the stands, the fact that most of the stands sit behind our bench, which is at this end of the field. We would normally try to defend the other end, or rather defend this end first and then go at this end the second half, and we feel that if the game is close in the second half and we can create enough corner kicks and other types of set plays in the attacking part of the field, that we're going to score some goals.
Think the heat will be a factor today?
I think it will, but I'm not sure which team it'll favor. It's going to be humid, and that's obviously going to be in our favor because we practice more in the humidity. But Hartwick is a good team. They have depth. They're fit. You know, our depth is a question mark right now. Almost every player that goes on the field for us today, every player that will go on the field for us today, other than the starting team, is a player that hasn't played in the game for William & Mary. So it's very tough to say how they'll do.
Well, thank you very much, Coach Albert.
Okay, Peter, pleasure.
Forward for William & Mary, and I'd like to ask him a couple questions. Keith, you grew up in Williamsburg. You played youth soccer here. You played high school soccer here. What's it like playing college ball in your hometown with all your friends and people that you played with coming out to see you play?
Well, I've got a lot of friends that are coming out today from high school and from William & Mary. We've gone around, a lot of the guys on the team, the freshmen, and some of the older guys have gone around the dorms, getting everybody out, hopefully get a good crowd out. And like I said, a lot of guys, you know, people that I know from town will be coming out.
I used to, when I played here, you were a freshman, I guess, and now you're a senior. What's it like being a senior? I mean, how is your role different with this young team? I guess 12 players are new. What do you think you have to do differently this year?
Well, starting out right now, we're starting out with all veterans, you know, freshmen. Starting out with a couple of guys we'll see action, I think, today. And hopefully having the guys out that have played in those games will be able to, you know, put a good, tough physical team out against Hartwick.
What do you look to do personally today? I mean, I know you're playing forward with Scott Bell. What are you trying to do today personally?
I'm looking to be the star. I want to score today.
Good attitude. Well, thank you very much, Keith.
Right.
I've got senior sweeper Andy Smoling here. And Andy, you're playing a new position essentially this year. I know you played it in high school, but in the past for William & Mary, you've played forward and midfield because you got great speed. What's it like playing sweeper this year? What do you think this season will be like?
Well, it's kind of difficult to tell right now because we've only had one scrimmage. But I don't anticipate any problems back there. Our back four looks really solid with Rich Moreno, Glenn Livingston, and Scott Repke. So I don't, you know, my job's pretty much going to be a pretty easy ball because they're going to be marking their men out of the game. So hopefully I'll just concentrate on distribution. I won't have to win too many balls.
Is there anyone particularly in Hartwick you can be watching for as sweeper today?
We really don't have enough about the team. They have one forward named Dave Margellis, but he's with the national youth team right now. So other than that, I don't really know about any of their forwards. Kind of going into the game cold.
What's it like playing with Bob Agaloff and Todd Middlebrook, who you've basically been here since early and you grew up with them?
Well, Bob, Todd, and I knew each other from high school. We all hated each other. And we came down to William & Mary and still hated each other until we got to know each other a little better. And now we've formed an alliance called the Island Connection. And as you notice, Glenn Livingston as well is from Long Island, and we're straight up and down the middle of the field. So basically you got a New York team down the middle. So we're expecting some good things this year.
Well, I know for those of you who have seen you play, they know that you're just one hell of a tough hitter and a good player. And I know today, I think Hartwick after this game will know that also.
Hope so too.
Thank you very much, Glenn.
Thanks.
He's the assistant coach here from London, England, and who's been here since 1979 and is the winningest assistant coach in William & Mary history. And John, you've been here since '79. How does the team look compared to the other teams that you've seen? You saw the '80 team, you saw the '83 team.
Well, at the moment, it's the unknown quantities that are the real determining factor there, how the freshmen are going to come on. In '80, we had Mike Flood, Todd Middlebrook, Andy Smolan. These kind of young fellas came in and did a great job. If fellas like Donny DeShira, Derek Connell, Ian Peter can do the same kind of job, then I'm sure we're going to compare favourably with that team.
For those who have seen William & Mary games before, John, you do a lot of active coaching on the sideline. What are you going to be trying to tell the players today?
Well, I concentrate pretty much on basic things that players tend to forget in the heat of the moment and just yell the odd little reminder very classily, I like to think, but just to keep them on their toes and remind them that in the heat of the moment there are certain little things that you have to remember to execute.
You've coached the goalkeepers in the past. I know you're not doing that this year, but what would you say about Bob Agaloff, the starting keeper this year for William & Mary?
Bob's the kind of fella that has a tremendous capacity for work. When he's working hard, when he's on song, he is a very, he's a safe goalkeeper, especially in the air. He's the kind of lad that has to keep up his intensity, because once it slips a little bit, then he starts to get a little bit shaky, loses confidence. He needs, like most goalkeepers, he needs a good save early in the game, and if that comes along, then he'll do fine.
I understand the Hartwick goalkeeper's rated to be one of the best in the nation. Have you seen him play at all? Or?
I haven't seen him. I've heard of him. He's from England, and reports are that he's short for a goalkeeper, but that doesn't matter that much. I've seen some short goalkeepers who are very good. This fellow has got a great reputation, and we'll hope that we can put him under a bit of pressure and try and force him into some mistakes.
What do you think of the game today? What are William Mary's chances?
You can never tell. We've had some great opening season games. Hartwick are coming in with a very good reputation. We know they've got a lot of talent. And again, anyone coming into Carey Field, we feel that we're in with a chance of beating them, just with the home advantage. And if the students and the crowd gets behind us, I think we'll do quite well.
Well, we'll be listening for your coaching from the booth. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Welcome back from the pregame show, and as you can see right now, we have the captains at the middle of the field with the referee, and he'll be flipping the coin and expressing some of his concerns for today's match. The captain for Hartwick is number 16, Ian Fraser, and the captain just elected for William & Mary is Todd Middlebrook, and he's a senior. Peter, we've got two teams here steeped in tradition, and I know you've done a little bit of research to find out about Hartwick. Can you tell us a little bit about how their program has developed and how they've achieved that national prominence?
Well, Troy, anyone who's followed collegiate soccer, has heard of Hartwick. They've been a power for the past several years. 1967, I guess, was when they first came to the forefront. Al Miller, who's now the general manager for Cleveland of the NASL, was their coach then, and that was the beginning of their turning into a soccer power. The president of the college, Fred Binden, made a commitment during that time to develop a national program, and in 1970 the team made the Final Four of the NCAAs. In 1973-75, a new coach took over, a former player, Timo Likowski, and in 1976 the current coach, Jim Lennox, took over. And the success of Hartwick culminated in 1977 when they won the national championship, and again in 1980 they made the Final Four. They've had several outstanding players. Actually, Hartwick has the most pro players of any college team. And they've had two Herman Award trophy winners. And Glenn Meyernick, who was once captain of the national team, won the trophy in 1976, which is, as you know, the symbol of I guess it's the soccer equivalent of the Heisman Trophy.
That's correct, right.
And they had Billy Gonzalez, who won the Herman the next year, 1977. So Hartwick, again, is anyone who's ever followed soccer in this country knows what a powerful team they are.
That's great. And as you can see, the teams have gone off the field, and we're only moments away from the start of the match and the introduction of the players. Pete, would you give us a brief rundown of the tradition of William & Mary?
Well, William & Mary started becoming a power, a regional power, I guess, in the late 70s. 77 when they had I think 13-4 record, and in 1978 they won their first state championship, and they followed that with two other state championships, 1979, 1980. In 1980, they won they beat Howard for the regional, I guess, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship, and they made to the quarterfinals of the NCAA. And in 1983, last year, they lost UVA in a very close game in the first round. Actually, they received a bye, so it was the second round of the NCAA. So William & Mary also boasts a very fine tradition in soccer.
And as far as their coaching, Al Albert has had, and now he's in his 14th year, and I understand he does have some coaching licenses, which are the highest standard in
Well,
the
he
profession.
has an A license from the United States Soccer Federation, and he also has a full badge from the English Football Association, which are the two highest licenses you can get in sport.
And as many of the local folks in Williamsburg know, and they see Al Albert and the Red Van perpetually at youth soccer, the high school games.
And he also runs the Tidewater Soccer Camp.
That's true, the Tidewater Soccer Camp. We've both worked at it. As we see right now, the Hartwick players are being introduced.
Andy Chudowski. Number 14, Carl Reeves. Number 16, Ian Fraser. Number 17, Greg Brown.
Looking at some of the players, I guess we really want to focus on two in particular, Peter. One is Michael Harrison, the English goalkeeper, who has an extremely good reputation. And here we go with the introductions of the William & Mary players.
He's a sophomore. The announcer said he was a senior.
Right. And he is the goal scorer. Andy Smolin, as you well know, is the power in the back.
Very fast, explosive player.
Keith Exton is our local player. We had an opportunity to meet with him before the game.
Here comes
Do you know this guy? This is Michael Colares, Peter?
Well, I think I'm related to him.
Seen him once
Yes,
or twice.
I taught him everything he knows, as you know. And,
You know, it's great to see Hart playing. He came in and had a slow start.
That's right. They had high expectations when he came in, and I think this year is the year where he's going to come into his own.
I tend to agree with that. Just Todd Middlebrook,
he's just a fine player from day one.
Yeah, I was here when he was being recruited, and he's not only a fine player, but he's a fine person and a great team leader.
He's also the leader of a new hot rock band with, well, we'll talk about that later.
Glenn Livingston, who's just been introduced.
He's just a solid stopper. He's just tremendous. His first game was against Connecticut when they were the defending national champions. He came out and he was the player of the match that day as a freshman in his first collegiate game.
Glenn
Livingston, tremendous player.
And they call him the Rock, is that right?
Well, after this game, I think people will know why.
That's true. The referee for today's match is Jack White, and I've known Jack for many years. He's always done a fine job, and he's well qualified to referee at this standard. Pete, how do you feel the referee can affect play at this standard?
Well, initially, depending on how he calls the game, if he starts calling the game very closely, some teams who like to play fast, aggressive, tight marking soccer may just have to change their plans a little bit. I think Jack will keep good control of the game, and we'll see a good game here today.
Well, that was a concern that Jim Lennox expressed to me this morning, was that because of the nature of the field, it's relatively small.
There's a lot of player-to-player contact.
There's going to be a lot of tight marking and a lot of contact. And I tend to agree with that. I think Jack is going to come out and try and take control straight away.
As long as he sets the tone of the game early, everything will be fine.
No time!
As far as the field goes, Pete, can you tell us just a little bit about the conditions here before the kickoff?
Well, traditionally, Cary Stadium has been one of the finest surfaces in the state, and it's just a great place to play. This season, it's not as good a condition as it usually is, but it's still, a very fine place to play. There's a slight crown on the field, which may bother some people that aren't used to that.
What we've seen William and Mary do initially is knock the ball back to goalkeeper Bobby Aguilar, and I spoke with Al last night about that, and I believe the reason for it is he wants to give the players in the back an opportunity to settle down, and Andy Smolin is now taking the ball forward into the middle third of the field. Plays along to Hartbauer, and it's controlled by Hartwick. Scott Bell.
I think one of William Mary's plans is going to do exactly that. From the back up to the sidelines, to where their midfielders and forwards can control it, and then the rest of the players can shift upwards and receive the ball from them.
Yeah. What we see here is Richard Miranda playing the ball forward, and not too successfully. The referee, yes, has called a foul. We'll play direct, and that's a clear example of the referee getting right on top of the play.
Right.
Yeah, he could have allowed that play to go on, but he stopped it. And we have a free kick. Andy Smolin will be playing the ball forward direct. That means with one touch, it can go in the goal. For some of the folks that aren't familiar with the nature of free kicks. Plays the ball, and Hartwick has control now.
Okay, that's a touch.
And that is Mark Metrick taking the ball forward, and a nice play by Darcy Curran. Darcy's a sophomore, gets in there.
Darcy's a very cool player. He's experienced beyond he's a sophomore, but he plays essentially like a
That's
veteran.
Andy Smolin playing the ball over the end line, and we'll have the first corner kick of the match. Peter, can you tell us a little bit about the type of things that we'll be looking for on a Hartwick corner kick?
Well, Hartwick is going to be looking to attack the near post, or the space around the near post, which is the post closest to where the kick is actually being taken, and they're going to try to drive the ball in there with some spin, and they're trying to get the ball to, let's say, deflect off a player and go into the goal mouth where they hope that someone will pounce on and put in the net.
Okay, and we're set, and there is that driven ball to the near post, and a great header! A great header by number 18.
That was Hartbauer, 14. Oh, yeah, Hartbauer knocked it off the line for William Mary.
Tremendous play. So already, Jim Lennox's tactics have come to fruition.
Yes, that worked perfectly for them.
And a nice counterattack by William and Mary. They got the ball quickly forward. Richard Miranda to throw it in. And knocked in by Richard. Well done by Darcy Curran. Played headed into the corner and away by number 13, Andy Chudowski. We're going to probably look to see a lot from Andy Chudowski today.
Now, this long throw taken by Glenn Livingston, he's probably going to be looking for Andy Smolin, who's got incredible leaping ability to flick the ball on. And here it goes, and there's Smolin.
There it was. Smolin plays it forward, and the goalkeeper attempts to come out, and there's a push in there. Jack White calls the push, and we'll have a direct kick from inside the 6-yard box. As we can see, the William & Mary players dropping off. Some good pressure up front from William & Mary as Hartwick controls the football into the middle of the field. It's number 10, Scott Smith, playing square to Matt Kern. Matt Kern, a nice run up this touch line. Well done and played away. Peter, it's early in the season. Can we expect to see that type of miscue fairly frequently through the match?
I think so, especially, well, I think early in the match, not, you know, I think later in the match he'll settle down, but I guess he just mistimed his kick and hit it a little too hard, the ball went out of bounds. Probably heard footsteps. I think thought he was going to get his...
The goal kick is played to Mike Caleras, and he knocks it up the line to Keith Exton. And Pat Lynch plays back to Michael Harrison in the goal. And Hartwick is looking to do just that, play into the midfield. Wonderful touch by number 17, Greg Brown.
It's a great ball, keeper.
Andy Smolin plays it away for William & Mary. Nicely done.
It's a very nice play by Hartwick.
Yeah. Peter, can you tell us a little bit about the tactics of Hartwick as far as their desire to get forward fast?
Well, they're going to try to, yeah, as you said, they're going to try to attack quickly and apply, use their athletic ability to apply pressure on the defense. And thus far, it's been working. As you can see, they've had some good opportunities.
See a long clearance there into the midfield, and Keith Exton has played to Scott Bell into the corner. William & Mary counter-attacking. Across, Keith has played it square and away by Scott Smith of Hartwick. That's a good effort across. Michael Harrison, the goalkeeper, coolly handles the ball. And that's a nice ball square. Matt Kern again, attacking the near touch line, plays inside to number 17, Greg Brown, and it's lost. William & Mary now has control. It seems to me that we're not seeing a lot of forward play here from William & Mary.
That's right, especially on the right side. I think they're just keying on Scott Bell because he is one of their fine players, and they're trying to drive up the side with Richard Miranda. There's that. They'll do that several times a game.
Right. And there's a foul. Number 13, Andy Chudowski, with a push on Scott Bell, and we'll see the direct kick from Richard Miranda.
Well, that wasn't very well done.
Misplayed there, but Glenn Livingston had it, lost it.
I think William & Mary needs to settle down a little bit. I think they're...
That was a great through ball. Being run down by Pat Crookshank.
Oh, that's a good tackle.
And that ball is still in bounds.
That's a good tackle. I think there was a little
he did call it out. Oh, I believe he called the foul, but it was called away. And we'll have the corner kick. Scott Smith will take it, and we'll be looking again for that
near post.
Driven ball, as we saw, very successful in the first effort.
I think Smolin's in the middle now. I think he's going to be watching for that.
That one's played away. We've got a jumping in, dangerous play called by Jack White, and quickly the ball is put into play by William & Mary. Bobby Agaloff will start the attack. As far as the tactics of William & Mary now, are we looking to play more out of the back, or are they going to be knocking the ball forward?
They're going to be trying to play it out the back, as I was saying earlier, and they're going to try to take it up the sidelines to their midfielders and their forwards. They're playing a 4-4-2, which is 4 midfielders, 4 backs, and 2 forwards. And they're going to essentially try to bring it up the sideline and have their very fine players up front with that good control, check back and distribute the ball from there.
Is this a new system for William & Mary, Peter, or is this a system, the 4-4-2 system, has that been fairly common play over the years?
Well, William & Mary has experimented with this before, and they've tried it early in the season several times, and they haven't found it to be that successful, so they've switched back to the traditional 4-3-3. But I think this year, with such an abundance of good midfielders, I think this is the one that Coach Al Albert wants to use this year, and I think it should be successful.
And that ball took a strange bounce.
That's right.
But Mike Harrison, again, being the rated goalkeeper he is, coolly handled it. And he plays that ball on the drop kick long. Glenn Livingston.
Great header by Glenn Livingston.
And that is his strength in the stopper position. Todd Middlebrook, well done. And William & Mary counter-attacking. Scott Bell, beautiful run. And he's been fouled, yes. He's been pushed down. And we'll have the direct kick. This is dangerous. And as Jim Lennox expressed to us, this was his concern, was set pieces from William & Mary.
Well, William & Mary is, again, they're going to try to go for Andy Smolin's head, and they have several tall players, and they have Todd Middlebrook, they have Richard Miranda, who are all very good in the air, and William & Mary is very successful with this.
Look at the position of Harrison. He's well off to the far post, leaving much of the goal exposed. And I believe that's something Al Albert will definitely pick up. A good in-swinging ball around that wall will be very difficult to save. That surprises me. That really does.
He has a lot more confidence in himself than...
He must know he can get over there. We have a foul in the midfield, and Hartwick will play direct.
William & Mary's yet to get into an offensive flow, I think. They have to... I mean, they're good enough to do it. They should have to start playing offensively now. That was a push.
Yes, Jack has called a push. Seems like Jack has gotten control of this game.
Yes, he has. Very early.
Richard Miranda again. He will take many of the free kicks in and around the midfield. Toronto-born player, well experienced. Scott Repke has control, takes it to the touch line, and lost control and gives it away. Greg Brown from Hartwick tosses to Matt Kern, and he'll throw the ball in. You'll see here that, Pete, that the William & Mary players have cut off the goalkeeper and forced that long throw. And Andy Smolin coolly plays it back.
I think it's going to be a big advantage to have Smolin back at sweeper this year.
Why is that?
He's a senior, and he knows what to do. He knows the game, and besides that, he's got explosive speed. And personally, I think that you can know the game all you want, but if you're not very fast, it'll hurt you sometimes. But Andy's just explosive. He's just very fast, and that can make up for a lot of mistakes.
Pete, what are we seeing here as far as the nature of Hartwick's play? There's another foul, and that's a bad foul.
Yes, that was unnecessary, but he was just frustrated there, and he beat him to the ball.
Ian Frazier takes Andy down. Pete, what do you feel is a better thing for him to do in that type of situation?
Well, he might have just stayed with him and tried to cut off the pass to the goalkeeper, and since he was in the sideline, or at the sideline, in the back, Andy didn't really have that, a large area to work with, and he might have been able to force Andy to give the ball away.
That's a wonderful play by Greg Brown, but he's given it away, and Hartwick recovers possession.
Oh, boy.
An excellent cross. Oh, a tremendous header. Tremendous cross and tremendous header. Just over the bar. I believe, Peter, William & Mary was beat at that point.
And Hartwick's shown the ability to strike very quickly. The ball's in the sideline, he took it in, and that was a great chance for them.
Paul Cushing attempted that header, and it was a super effort. And I believe there's some respect being established here for the power of the Hartwick attack.
I think the goalkeeper Agaloff came out well on that. He might have had a lot to do with that header being missed, because when you're going up for a header and you see Bob coming out, you might have to adjust yourself a little bit. But so, although it may not have seemed that he was in the play, he was in the play, and he caused that to be missed.
Bobby Agaloff plays the ball up to Richard Miranda in the midfield. Hartwick controls and plays up the far touch line. Mark Metrick has played that forward, and he's going to have an effort at goal, and knocked down by Andy Smolin. Tremendous play. That's good recovery. And Michael Colares plays it into the 10th row. Andy Smolin plays into the midfield. The ball, with really no control. Now Hartwick has it. That was Greg Brown playing forward.
That's a fine play right there.
It's nicely done. Todd Middlebrook being pressured pretty significantly.
Todd has an ability to shield the ball from players. He just displayed there, and I'm looking for him to start taking over the midfield. It's early in the game. William Mary's playing defensively.
That's a terrible foul. A terrible foul. Jack White's going to call Mike Collaros over.
That was an unnecessary elbow, I think.
I think a little frustration there.
Well, it could be. I'm not sure. I know that Mike was in the corner when he made that tackle. The Hartwick player was digging into his back with his cleats. I don't know if that's the same player or not, but it could be just a little note to him saying that if he does it again, he might not be playing too much more.
Scott Smith to take the free kick for Hartwick. And William and Mary, that's tremendous, and it's a good thing we can bring up here.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what just happened, Pete?
That was an offsides trap. William Mary's been very successful using that play in the past several years. And what they do is, as you just saw, they have a free kick. Hartwick has a free kick, and the William Mary players line up close to the Hartwick players. And a player on William Mary, usually the sweeper Andy Smolin, will give out a signal. And the signal will be that when the Hartwick player approaches the ball, the William Mary player should run about 10 yards up and trap the Hartwick players offside, and it worked right there.
The referee calls play on, and Mike Collaros controls in the midfield. Todd Middlebrook is challenged. And it's been given away.
I think that was a foul there, but the
I
referee
believe
let
so.
it play.
We may look
Scott Bell with
a good effort, and that's probably the first serious effort that goal
Yes.
William and Mary has had.
That was a Mark Gardner-like finish, but I'm sure that...
Mark Gardner's a former player in Maccabea, team player.
There's Glenn Livingston again. He's just such a fine stopper. It's just...
And that's, folks, why they call it stopper, because a lot of his job is going to be handling balls played into the midfield, long, high balls played in.
Now again, Charlie, what you just saw number 8, Michael Collaros, do, he was shielding the ball from the player again. And that's a technique that's very useful to learn for those people that are learning the game out there. If you're a big player like Mike, you use your thighs and your hips and your shoulders to keep the player away from the ball, and it's very useful.
Well played in. Glenn Livingston plays to Keith Exton, and unfortunately, it's given away. And here's that quick counterattack. No doubt there. Scott Repke fouls. It might have been a good foul as well.
Yes, I think so.
What it's allowed is the William and Mary players were able to recover. Greg Brown. And Scott Repke takes him down. And the referee allows play to go on.
That was it may have been a foul, but either way, it was a very good result for William Mary because that player was going in there free, and Scott made a fine play. I'm still looking for Andy Smolin to establish himself back there with, again, had that player gotten away, Andy might have come in and taken the ball and taken the player, and I think that once he establishes himself back there, people will realize that they have to face not only the black players, but Andy Smolin coming in as well.
And the ball is played. Hartwick is controlling. Brown forward. Here's Andy Smolin giving a good challenge. Oh, and there's a foul. And the referee has now taken control. And he's given the free kick to William and Mary.
It's gotten a bit rougher in the past few minutes, I think.
I tend to agree. Do you think that may be a function of the heat?
It could be that, and it could be that the intensity level is getting to be such that they just want to do something to do well.
Players know they'll have to fight for this one. Then.
That's right.
Do you feel Hartwick may have come down here with the belief that they could kind of walk through this game a little bit?
I don't know. If they do have that belief, I think they're mistaken because Penn State came down here and they lost, and Connecticut came down here as defending national champion, and they were tied. And William Mary's just a very, very tough team to play in the stadium. They're just very tough. No one walks over William Mary here.
That foul was by Glenn Livingston. Jack White, the referee, had a word with him. And now we'll have the free kick again from Scott Smith. Plays the ball to the far side. Richard Miranda, good job. Good job on the challenge. And what do we see there? We see Scott Bell coming back. Can you tell us why he's even back there?
Well, he's playing a forward, and forwards aren't known for their defense usually, but the man that was marking him made a run up the sideline, and so it is Scott's responsibility to stay with his man when he runs up to into the offensive end.
Andy Smolin gave that away, and this is dangerous. Oh, and he recovers and does a great job.
Aguilar came out very well there also, gave Smolin time to come back, and Andy came back.
He made life a little bit more difficult for himself than really he needs
It was necessary, yes.
Yeah.
The island connection comes through, at least 2/3 of it there.
Corner kick again, looking to exploit
Great
that near
header.
post. Scott Smith fans on that one. Ball still not really in control. No foul there.
You have to be careful not to foul here.
I'm impressed with Greg Brown from Hartwick, number 17. He's had a tremendous ability to control the ball. And Scott Bell on the counterattack plays to Keith Exton, and he has control. William & Mary is set up. And he loses it across the touchline.
Charlie, as you were saying earlier, William & Mary is not attacking up the right side. I don't know why that is, but Keith was the only player that Scott had.
There's a great effort! Tremendous goal!
Oh, that was tremendous.
Darcy turned from 35 yards out, and there's no doubt in my mind, Michael Harrison, he was shocked that that came in.
That's one of the finest shots you'll see. That was just a tremendous, tremendous shot. Darcy is just a tremendous shot.
Michael Harrison, prior to the shot, I don't have to look at him, he didn't expect it.
He was out of position, Charlie. He was about 8 to 10 yards off the goal line, and you can't stop a shot like that when you're that far out.
Go, try!
William & Mary
fine goal.
takes that 1-goal lead.
Maybe that'll give William & Mary the confidence to attack now.
I tend to believe it might settle Hartwick down a little bit.
That's true also.
Bring them back into the reality of this particular match.
They know that now that they're playing a top 20 team.
Ball is played in the midfield. Really no control established.
It's fine. Fine play
Nicely
there.
done by Todd Middlebrook.
Okay.
And there's a miscue.
Oh yeah, but before that though, the William & Mary players are showing now that they're starting to play. Todd and Darcy and made fine plays there. And just the last leg of that play was.
We have a throw-in, I believe, down in the corner. Pat Lynch will be tossing it in for Hartwick. Long throw-in right to Todd Middlebrook. Poorly done.
Bracket. Is Darcy again? Fine play.
That's a quick counterattack by Hartwick.
Scott Recke did very well to get back there. That was a fine play.
It was Pat Cruikshank trying to kick that one away. It's back in play, and Andy Smolin plays long to Keith Exton, to Scott Bell. And Hartwick again on the counterattack. And look how quickly they get forward.
They've got numbers up here.
Nicely done. Al spoke to me earlier last evening about William & Mary needing to go to the floor pretty consistently to tackle in order to counter the quickness. That was a tremendous cross and played away. William & Mary will have the goal kick.
Repke jumped up in his face and left that Hartwick player with little to do but to do that.
I can hear Al all the way up here encouraging the lads to go on.
I haven't heard John Daly yet, and that's maybe he's quieting down.
How much work are we gonna have to sustain through this match in order to get the victory?
Oh, I think that to win this, William & Mary will have to be at peak efficiency the whole time. There can be no letdowns here. Hartwick they've shown that they can take advantage very quickly of any lapse. They've created their own advantages, and William & Mary just can't give them any.
Nicely done by Mike Calaris with a chest pass. Oh, and that was dangerous.
So William & Mary now is starting to thrust offensively, and I think that Hartwick respects them now. I don't think there's...
It's a nice ball played into Brown of Hartwick, and we are going to have obstruction called, and that play will be indirect. Pete, what does indirect kick mean?
That means that when he kicks the ball, when this Hartwick player kicks the ball, it's going to have to touch another player before it can go into the goal. And as opposed to the direct kick we saw earlier where he could have shot directly into the goal.
Scott Smith for Hartwick to knock it in. Players lined up around the 18. Played to the right side. Oh, and a great effort. A great effort by number 11.
Bob Agaloff did very well there. He was in perfect position, just picked the ball up, made it look very easy.
Number 11, Mark Metrick of Hartwick, who came into this game as a lauded player. They expect him to do good things. He's a center midfielder. He's their transition player to get forward. Again, William Richard allows himself to be shut down.
That's true.
But he does get an opportunity to play it forward.
It's a good ball.
Yeah, Scott Repke does a good job, and he's fouled.
These little things going on after the play has been completed, I don't know who's initiating them, but we've seen several of those things where the ball has been played elsewhere and players are getting tangled up. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. Andy Smolin to play direct. To Keith Exton.
It's a fine ball.
Square. That's tremendous. Michael Colaris plays to Keith. He's shielding the ball well in the corner. Plays square and given away. Hartwick clears and counterattacks.
This is dangerous.
Well done.
This is a bit dangerous play.
2v2. Oh, and he's taken down. Glenn Livingston. Glenn Livingston, number 17 from William and Mary.
You don't want to give a foul away there because this is a very dangerous area. But I don't think that was a particularly bad foul. I think it was just an effort at a strong tackle.
Yeah. We were 2 against 2 on that counterattack.
Right.
So
that was, at least they stopped the play.
Jim Lennox had no particular set pieces designed for these types of plays, so the players are pretty much on their own.
They've overloaded on Miranda's side. They've got 2 players there.
That's
I
true.
don't know what they're thinking about there.
In this situation, the players must remain 10 yards from the ball. That's what Jack White is pointing out right now, and they violated that space. Hartwick will kick the ball again, and now he's walking them off.
They brought some players back, so now Miranda's one-on-one, and they might be able to...
Brown. Oh, no! Oh! A poor referee may have given that one away. It was just a missed kick. He gives a corner kick.
Good play. As you said, a poor referee may have...
There was no chance to score. Should not be a penalty. However, they are discussing it.
No, it can't be.
And Brown is down, and he looks injured. Andy missed the ball, and he took all of them, didn't he?
Smolin, when you get hit by Smolin, you feel it for a long time. Now, as you said, Charlie, I can't see how they could give a penalty there. The player was in no position to score.
Well, he's done the next best thing the referee can do. He puts Andy Smolin in the book, yellow card. And I believe William and Mary did well to get away with just a yellow card.
Like Smolin down there is trying to explain that he was merely going for the ball, and I think he's got a good point there. He was going for a good strong tackle, and the player went through, and Andy just, being Andy, he's a very aggressive player, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Brown is up and running it off, and he will stay in. A resilient player, not large, but extremely quick. And the corner kick, and that one's played away.
Fine play by Scott Repke there. Smolin clears.
Oh. That should be a foul, and
Yes,
it is.
yes, definitely.
We are looking at some serious trouble from Cushing here of Hartwick. The red-haired player goes in and tries to take the goalkeeper, and he's put in the book. And I have to agree with the referee.
Deservedly so. There's no excuse for that.
Absolutely none. He had no opportunity to win the ball.
He came in feet high. There's no...
I'm impressed with Jack White. It's critical to stay in control of a team, 2 teams that play with such intensity.
He's going to have to do it, too, because we've noticed a couple of hard tackles, and Andy was in the given a yellow card, so I think we better take control now.
Scott Bell. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a substitution there. Number 9. I think that's Derek O'Connell who has come on.
He's come in for Keith.
He's our freshman English player.
We may have to slow down a little bit. Scott could have waited on that one.
Hartwick again, attacking the near side touchline. Maintaining control. Does a nice job getting it back. If nothing's going on, they will knock it back to the keeper. And over the top he goes. Andy Smolin to go up, lets the header go through, and easily controlled by William and Mary. Scott Refke taking that back to Bob Agaloff in the goal. You see all the players dropping off. And there's another player on, number 6 for William and Mary. And that's Don DeCharia.
I heard some good things about him during preseason. I'd say he's a fine player.
Oh, he handled it, but he gets away, and the referee calls play on.
Nice, come on.
Little loose control there, and the ball is, and the Hartwick can now played forward. We have a foul. William and Mary will play direct from there. I believe Richard Miranda will take the kick. He sets it up, and he will. It was Greg Brown on the push from Hartwick from behind. Now, Pete, I really expected William and Mary to be a little bit more effective on even their longer set pieces.
Yeah, I think they've just rushed them a little bit. They're not getting complete position there.
Ball is played in by Michael Harris, and a tremendous header by Scott Bell.
Oh, tremendous effort by Bell there.
Some of the beauty of the game of soccer demonstrated right there. Scott Bell, a diving header just wide of the bar. A nice piece of football.
Bell is another member of that band that I was mentioning earlier, that Todd Middlebrook and Hart Bauer
These
started
are
up.
the Rockers, huh?
No, well, these
Do
are,
they have a name?
The name is just plain. It's scum.
That's the name.
Yes.
The punk rock crowd.
Uniquely bad band, I think, but they're very interesting.
Ball is played forward. That's Brown, who is in control in the corner, and he will wait for Hartwick players to come forward. Takes on Miranda. Richard, a tremendous tackle. Tremendous tackle, going to the ground to win the football. And he's got it again, and played forward.
Shaw came back to help out there, and
Here's where William and Mary needs to get forward, and almost a bad error by Derek O'Connell.
that was an intelligent play. Just he didn't hit it quite as hard as he needed to there. It's always easy to hit it back to the goalkeeper when you're under pressure because the players just don't expect it.
Darcy Curran attempting to play that, won by the Hartwick player, and Brown just giving it away uselessly. We have a player down on the field from that header. Must have caught Darcy Curran's head in the face,
Yes,
but
I
he
think
is
that's
down.
what happened.
And now the referee stops the play. Frazier was the injured player who went down, the captain, and we start with a drop ball. After the injury, no possession, and that's how we restart play. The Chariot attempts to cross, and again, that quick counterattack. There's Glenn Livingston, gets up.
Fine play there.
A super play. I am impressed with their ability to counterattack.
Oh, yes. I think they're leaving that one Paul Cushion player up there, and that forces William Mary to keep Glenn back there. And, of course, Andy Smolin, the sweeper, has to stay back, too. But I wouldn't like to be Paul Cushion playing between those two, personally.
No, I don't agree. I don't believe I would either. Brown again with the ball. He does show some nice control.
Very quick and skillful.
Darcy knocked that forward, and there, Cushing, header on a goal! He was allowed to run free. Paul Cushing from Hartwick, number 18. Very coolly, very confidently puts it away.
We were just saying that he is a factor up there. How close was that to being offside, Charlie?
I think very close, but
I'd like to see that
Pete,
again.
I tend to agree that the tracking in and around the box might be getting a little slack here.
It could be. There are a lot of players wandering around from Hartwick, and maybe assignments when people switch off.
Come on, Trent! Score a goal!
But now we have the score equalized now at 1-1. Derek Connell will play the ball into the back, and again William and Mary will look for Andy Smolin to play forward, as he does.
Yes. Get into the box.
Oh,
That was
that was an attempt by Mike Colares to draw the penalty. Absolutely hopeless.
yes, I think it was a little bit overdone.
Do we give him
there.
an Oscar for that one?
I don't think so.
Derek Connell with the ball, and he's shielding it well. Turns.
Using the elbows to...
Yeah. And he does a nice job there to get the throw in.
I think Mike would have done better to just drive towards the goal there and just wail at either the ball or the player. And,
I tend to agree.
Knock the ball loose somewhere.
He is strong enough to be able to...
strong enough to move out the entire team.
How dangerous is this situation now, Pete? Glenn Livingston will be throwing the ball in. Is this more dangerous than a corner?
It just depends. I think it's at least as dangerous, in my opinion. They're looking again for Andy or for someone to flick the ball on.
We have a foul there, jumping in from behind, called on William and Mary. Hartwick will play direct from inside the box. Mike Harrison, the goalkeeper, sets it up.
Come on, William and Mary!
Todd Middlebrook challenges for the header and wins it. And given away.
That was a little step-in foul there.
Mike Colares called on the foul, and again the quick attack. Number 11, Mark Metrick, a tremendous run, a really super run from midfield, and a great effort at goal.
Oh, it was very well done. Andy had him well covered, and he still got a very, very dangerous shot off there. That only needed about a foot and a half down. That would have been close to goal.
Seemed like Bobby Agloff did a good job on the angle. Seemed to have the near post covered.
Yes.
Andy
That's
plays
what
to
they should
Mike
be doing,
Colares.
in my opinion. They should be attacking more on the right side as opposed to just the left. But there was a misplay by Mike Colares.
The right side for our viewers is the near side
Right.
to the field here, and there's a terrible foul. Glenn Livingston going over the top of Cushing. And I believe that intensity level we spoke of earlier is now showing itself. Scott Smith to play the ball direct into the box.
A reminder to all fans, as you stand is open in the northeast.
Nicely done. Hartwick still maintains control. William and Mary, oh, and that time they were fortunate.
I think William Mary might have liked to have seen that flag go up on the goal earlier, but
I guess this is a good contrast between styles of play. William and Mary is attempting to get that offsides trap, pushing players forward quickly. We saw the one time where it hurt them. They went forward, player was onside, result, goal. However, there, they were fortunate to get the offside call. Well, it's now played forwards. It's Derek Connell on the challenge. And Hartwick.
I'd be interested to see how Derek Connell, the English player, will do under this heat, because traditionally the players that have come over here from England have not been used to this type of heat, and they've had severe difficulties early in the year adjusting to it.
It's a good point you make, Pete. I had an opportunity to speak with Derek during the preseason, approximately a week into training, and he felt that the sustained effort and the intensity of play, there's a super effort and cross there.
Hartwick's really pressing now.
We have no offside. Mark Metrick gets through, and he scored a goal. That's a nice goal.
Very fine play.
Sustained attack by Hartwick results in a 1v1 in the box there. Mark Metrick with the ball at his feet, turned, took Bobby Agloff on, 1 against 1, and slid it under him.
I think William Mary can't keep relying on individual defensive plays to get him out of a jam there. I mean, when you get the ball on the 18, one-on-one with the player, it will take a fine play to stop a guy like that, and it just wasn't there then. They have to start playing better team defense, I think. You can't let Hartwick send balls in there. We saw 3 or 4 straight thrusts into the offensive side.
You know, Pete, I think you'd agree that these games early on are really learning experiences for a team. What do you think William and Mary has learned from just these 2 goals scored here?
Well, I think that something that they knew of, really, against a team like Hartwick is you just can't let down for an instant there. That goal was not scored because of the play we saw where that player beat his defender. It was scored because the initial play that went in earlier, that was a breakdown somewhere, and you just can't have breakdowns because against a team like Hartwick, it's going to cost you because they have the individual ability to finish something like that. As we just saw, it was a very fine finish to a play there.
And they have finished some goals here.
Yes, they have.
They are now ahead 2-1 with approximately 9:20 left in the first half. There's a great effort there by Derek Connell on the cross. And all of a sudden, I see some fans over there across the way.
I think they've gotten up from last night's opening semester festivities, I think.
Yeah.
If you notice, Charlie, Hartwick is a lot more effective thus far in the game at sending balls through to players running. William Mary seems to be sending the ball down the sideline and crossing the ball, and when you do that, you don't have quite the same opportunity for the goal as Hartwick has in the past 2 goals. They've sent the ball forward as opposed to going from side to side. William Mary's going to have to cut that off if they're going to win this game.
Well, we don't really have the size up front, do we? In
No, we
order
don't.
to take advantage of those crosses.
No, we don't.
Scott Bell plays nicely.
I think that the principle behind that would be to bring up the big midfielders like a Todd Middlebrook and like a Mike Claris who can get up in the air, but you know, thus far they've been too busy trying to stop Hartwick as opposed to going forward. And if you're sending balls into Scott Bell and Derek, you know, the air is not their specialty, heading the ball.
We had a foul there. Glenn Livingston was taken down rather abruptly. And I don't know that there wasn't a little bit of intent involved in that. And we have Richard Miranda and Glenn over the ball, and Glenn will strike it. And poorly done. But a good effort!
That was Andy Smolin, I believe.
That was. Andy Smolin comes up from the back, and he was a forward as of last year.
That's right.
And I believe that might just reestablish a little bit of respect.
I hope so. Smolin has that ability to do it all over the field. I know that Coach Albert wishes he had Andy up front where he could use his explosiveness, but right now, I guess he just have to play sweeper.
That was a nice header by the stopper, Glenn Livingston. But the ball has been given away again, and we're looking at a quick counterattack. Comes to no avail.
Luckily for William Mary, the Hartwick player just played that ball too hard. Agloff had a very easy play there.
How do you think those 2 goals are affecting Bobby?
It's hard to say. You know, Bob has played several games for William Mary. It's not as if he's a rookie who's had his confidence shattered. I don't think that either one was you know, could be termed his fault. So I don't think he has anything to feel, you know, badly about. I just think it, you know, as I know Ag, he'll just bounce back from it.
That's good.
He's got a fine defense in front of him, and I'm sure that won't happen again.
Referee Jack White stops the play. We have obstruction, which is an indirect kick foul. And Richard Miranda again from the far side of the field, now being chased back a few yards. I'm sure William Mary would like to equalize here before the half. There's about 7-8 minutes left to go.
You have to start doing better set plays though.
Headed away. Pat Lynch plays forward. Referee Jack White has stopped the play.
I'm not quite sure what the call there was.
I'll tell you, I missed that one myself.
Could have been
Scott
ugly.
Smith plays forward. And there's Mark Metrick again. I am impressed with his quickness.
Yes.
And I believe he has come on a little bit as the game has progressed here. A little confusion here on the line. Who's going to throw this one in? Matt Kern picks it up, and I believe we've sorted things out.
I don't think the players mind too much at this point. They're kind of tired. They wouldn't mind a little break.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. There's Smokes, and that's what he does well right there.
Hartwick, again, they keep doing that. They're very successful in giving those through balls, and Smolin was there that time, but I don't know what it is that they're doing to get through like that. But
do you feel Andy is comfortable with his role at this point as sweeper?
It's hard. I think it's too early to tell. I think he's playing well. I know he likes the position. That should
Mark
not have gone
Metrick for
through
Hartwick goes up there.
Women needs a quick
Derek
count.
Connell plays it forward, and essentially has cleared the zone.
I think William Mary will settle down in the second half. They're still just rushing things a bit. There was no need for that. He needed either more communication or he had to find out himself what he was doing because it was too quickly played there.
Smolin heads to the midfield, and Metric for Hartwick comes forward. Quickly again. Gives the 1-2 to Crookshank.
Oh, my.
Played across the field, and that should roll over the end line.
Again, that was a fine play by Hartwick, and the only thing that was missing was the finish there. But Hartwick has shown that ability to explode into the offense.
We have had another substitution. Number 14, Hartbauer, comes on again at left midfield.
It's a fine
Derek
play.
Connell, brilliant turn, brilliant. And William & Mary coming forward. Oh, that's tremendous. Stop to Scott Bell. Oh, that's some of the nicest soccer we've seen from William & Mary today.
Scott Bell used his very, very non-existent chest to bring that ball down. And, just the finish was missing because the defender made a fine play to get back there.
And we did get a corner kick out of it.
Now, again, we have to look for either the floating ball or the driven ball to the near post. They'll be looking for Smolin.
This was a concern of Jim Lennox, the coach of Hartwick. The set pieces are William & Mary's one of the strongest elements of their game. The near post.
Crack it.
Oh, a great effort. Hartbauer. That's his job right there, is to clean up what comes out.
Yeah. That would have been a great goal had he scored it. He just hit the ball a little high.
Under 3 minutes on the clock, which is unofficial. The referee has the official time. Smith in the midfield for Hartwick. And they've done a nice job here, playing with their midfield players up to Brown on the far side and giving away.
Hartwick hasn't given the ball away coming up the side too many times. I think William Mary was fortunate again that they didn't succeed in making that play.
Richard Miranda to throw it in, and goes all the way back to Aguiloff. William & Mary will start their attack. Bobby picks it up, and it appears he will play the ball to midfield, and does.
It's a nice kick.
Brown again. Takes the ball forward. Some nice movement from the Hartwick players. And it's played out of there by Scott Repke. We have a pushing foul from Mark Metric, number 11 on Hartwick. William & Mary will play direct. And Todd Middlebrook looked to take it and goes forward. A lot of space up there. Well played.
They have to start executing those better, I think.
I tend to agree with you, Pete.
They've had quite a few that just haven't gone as they should have done. That's
Cushing plays forward to Brown, who is offsides. And they have not made that mistake too many times today, have they, Pete?
No, they haven't.
The Hartwick side.
Well, I guess Cushing is a senior, and he's very experienced, and we saw what he could do on the finishing end. And I think Glenn is a lot more aware of him now after his goal.
Aguiloff plays up to Scott Bell, and William & Mary will take the throw in. Hartbauer picks it up, and it's away. Pat Lynch, the sweeper, to throw this in. Nice touch again from Brown.
Fine play by Middlebrook.
Excellent. Oh, it's Scotty Bell. We have a great effort here. Unlucky. A nice defensive play.
Fine play there by Scott Bell, and just the
And
shot.
credit to Ian Frazier. We're down with very little time left. Quickly played in by William & Mary. And that is the whistle for the end of the half. Pete, some enjoyable soccer.
Yeah, we saw some fine goals today. All three goals were just very, very good goals.
William & Mary Hartwick soccer match. To review briefly, the score here is Hartwick 2, William and Mary 1. With me again is Peter Colares. Pete, can you give us a little review as far as some of the elements of play from the first half?
Well, of course, the game started off very closely marked with a lot of hard tackling, and then William Mary just struck the first blow, and Darcy, who, well, he came down here, in his words, a little thick, and everyone else's words, a little fat. He's playing well today, and he scored a tremendous goal. It's at least 35 yards, and I think that shocked Hartwick a little bit and brought him back into the game, and they just scored two very, very fine goals. And I think William Mary's going to be very hard-pressed to win this game.
Well, I believe that they're going to have to do it early on, and that was poorly done by Bobby Agloff. He's giving it away. Stan Brown, he's beat.
Oh, no.
Miranda, and he takes it, and a great goal. An absolutely great goal by Greg Brown. Just unfortunate for William and Mary. Two critical mistakes.
That is exactly what they did not want. Anytime you open up a half, you just don't want a setback like that, because now it's just even harder. They came out with a mental attitude, let's go, we have 1 goal to go, and now they have 2 goals to go. And that's really going to hurt them. We'll see how they bounce back now.
I'm sure you agree, Pete, those mistakes in the defending third, they just kill you.
Well, I think you know, Richard was beaten on that play, but it's not his fault. You know, the player who's covering there was just a very fine one-on-one play. It started with that poor kick, and then fine finish.
Well, William & Mary has brought it back. Scotty Bell knocks it across, and there's that quick counterattack again. Hartwick going forward quickly, and that's Cushing to Brown. He will reach that. And it's in. Beats Miranda again. And Smolin comes in with the tackle. We have a foul.
Greg Brown is really showing us that he's got tremendous quickness.
He has impressed me. He's not a large player, but control and quickness.
They have to stop letting Hartwick get those one-on-ones, because
we have a penalty kick here.
I'm not quite sure.
Mark Metrick to take the kick. This would put the nails in the coffin for William and Mary. And he finishes that. Mark Metrick, nicely done. Bobby Agloff taking the chance to one side. Not much of an opportunity for him. Bringing the score now to 4-1, and we have a problem here.
I think this is just about the worst thing that could have happened to William Mary. Anytime you go into a half, you just don't want to give up a goal, but they've just broken down the past 2 minutes, and I think this game is over.
Pete, do you feel it's more of a concentration mental thing, or it's just a lack of
I'm not quite sure what it is. I know last year William Mary had a poor game against Duke, and they gave up several goals in a short span of time, and exactly what happened here. It's just a breakdown and then another breakdown. I'm not quite sure what it is, to tell you the truth.
We've got some seriously aggressive play on the far touchline. Referee Jack White coming over to get control of the situation. Mark Metrick with the ball. Give it to Scott Smith, who'll play it in. So Hartwick has received a direct kick. And it's again that constant pressure to go forward. Peter?
Hartwick is attacking with a vengeance now. I think they want to add even more goals.
There was William and Mary attempting the offsides trap. It didn't work.
And Charlie, I don't think that Paul Cushing should have had a shot there. I don't think that that was good defensive play.
Well, I know Al is going to have to seriously consider that offsides trap as it relates to his overall defensive tactics. It has cost him some goals today. Pete, do you think that might be a function of timing, or is it inexperience that's caused the breakdown back there?
I think it's I'm not quite sure. It could be just poor judgment, individual poor judgment, and the fact that Hartwick will pounce on your mistakes. You can get away with mistakes against some teams, but this team has shown here that with their players up front, you give them a mistake, they're going to score. I think every opportunity they've had, they've taken advantage of.
The foul was on Mike Colares. He was fouled from behind, and William Mary played direct forward, and Darcy Curran now on his right foot, though he's a lefty.
There's another one.
Scott Bell from 30 yards is played wide.
We were discussing it at halftime, Charlie, that William Mary does not have a cohesive offensive strategy, it seems today. They're trying to play that up the line and back, but previously we saw Scott Bell go up the line, he crossed the ball, there was no one in there. The midfielders have got to get into the box.
And I guess the reason they're having so much trouble getting forward, is that they're trying to protect against that quick counterattack.
They're justifiably concerned with the fact that Hartwick can crush you on a counterattack. So it's not so much that William Mary is doing anything wrong, it's just Hartwick is a very fine team.
I tell you, it's been a long time since I've seen a team as aggressively attacking as Hartwick, and as successfully attacking as well. If they can finish. They've got 3 goals, and they got the penalty kick again, primarily because of that aggressive attacking mentality.
Well, to put things in perspective, Troy, I don't think that, at least since I've been down here since 1978, I don't think William Mary's ever given up 4 goals in Cary Field to anybody. And this does not happen often. William Mary does not get soundly beaten on Cary Field.
Well, we still have just under 40 minutes left, and William & Mary has scoring potential. There's no doubt. They could equalize if they can bring their defending team together.
Fine cross there.
Nicely crossed. Scott Bell knocks it in there. Well done. And again, a tremendous quick counterattack by Hartwick.
Hartwick had 3 players up there. They're just very quick to counterattack.
Scott Bell looking for the foul there. No hope. And Mark Metrick plays square. But Scott Repke, William & Mary knocks to midfield.
Very fine play by Harp out of there.
Yeah, no real sustained control here, although Andy Smolin has it and plays forward to Scott Bell. Nicely done, left by Darcy Curran to Mike Colares, and it's given away. See, we haven't seen those 3, 4, 5, 6 good passes.
They seem to break down. I think it's because they're rushing. It could be because of the first game. It could be because they know they need to get back to the game quickly, but they're just not playing as well as they can. They can play much better than this.
Yet we have seen some brilliant play from William & Mary. Yeah. We have seen some nice play around the box. We've seen some good defensive play. I tend to think even in the midfield, the aggressive tackling, the ability to go to ground to win tackles and to challenge players. I think those are the positive things that we can look at for the overall play at this point and use that as a basis to grow from.
Well, I think this midfield for William Mary is going to be a very fine one this year. Right now they're having some problems just because they're facing a team that's equally good at midfield, but in the future, I think in the next couple of games, especially now that they have one game under their belt, I think they'll show how good they are.
Scott Repke almost gave that one away, and Cushing.
Did you notice that, Troy? Todd Middlebrook gave that ball back to the keeper, and that's usually a good play for a defender, but Cushing was just a couple steps away. These forwards are very, very intelligent for Hartwick. They know what to do. They're very experienced.
And they are cunning. Oh, a great effort by Metrick, and the rebound almost stuck away by Greg Brown. That's a tremendous run by Metrick again. That's second or third super run he's had through players to have an effort at goal.
Fine play by the goalkeeper, Bob Agaloff there. William Mary was lucky on the rebound that the score wasn't 5-1. And now we're seeing a goalkeeper change.
And that is Ian Peter, a recruit from England who'll be coming in. And I have to say, Bob Agaloff has played a good match. He's just been unlucky.
That's the first opportunity Bob has had to show that he is a good keeper. The other goals that were scored were just unfortunate for a goalkeeper. You have a guy one-on-one on you. It's very tough to do anything. But Agloff is a good goalkeeper.
I know Bobby will be disappointed, but it's a good opportunity for Ian Peter, being a freshman, to get some time here in a game with this caliber of play. Having a second keeper that is able to step off the woodwork there and go.
Smollen's well in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott Smith. Oh, and that's a wonderful tackle by Mike Colares. Absolutely brilliant.
But again, it was a breakdown immediately afterwards.
Jack White, he's allowing a little bit of this and that to go on here. The referee, well in control, but the players, the contact is there. May have been a wasted run by Hartbauer there. Long way to go to come back.
Well, he has made it back.
Smokes again. He's holding it just till that last second. He's gotten caught earlier on, but he's doing well now. It's played out.
That is William Mary's game plan there, to send it up the sides. It may work, but it's just not working today. I don't think it. Hartwick's just too intelligent in the back.
And I think Jim Lennox, the coach of Hartwick, is going to be very, very happy as this match finishes up. His concern was the inexperience in the back and their ability to contain aggressive and good forwards. And William & Mary has their fair share of good forwards. But they have done a super job in the back containing the William & Mary attack.
That's right. The William & Mary backs, when they do handle the ball, as you were mentioning earlier, they just don't have very much time. These Hartwick forwards are quick enough to put pressure early. And that's why I think William & Mary has not been as successful in bringing the ball up from the back as they'd hoped they would be this game. There was no one moving for the ball there, Charlie.
Brown again plays forward. Cushing comes in, and Ian Peter finally gets his hands on the ball. Well done.
Came out well there.
Yeah.
I think Cushing was trying to argue for a handball, but he had no grounds there.
It's the intelligent player that asks.
That's true.
Mike Colares to throw it in for William & Mary on the far touchline.
Hartbauer is wide open on the near side if they could get the ball over here.
You know, Pete, I really expected to see some long changes of field. Can you give us a little insight on what that might do for the team?
Well, that.
Excuse me, but there is Mike Colares just was not going to let Mark Metrick attack that space behind him. There was no way. Grabbed him, and he's lucky he didn't get put in the book because he got a good hand on the shirt. And we'll touch back on that change of field a little bit, but right now, Hartwick are in a position to be very dangerous. That's Brown and I believe Smith over the ball. Brown breaks away, knocks square. Oh, and that gets through. That was dangerous.
There might have been some miscommunication between the goalkeeper and the backs there, because ordinarily the one thing you don't want is a ball to drop down in the 6, as that ball did. It's just the first thing you don't want on a crossing ball. It should never get down that close to goal.
Well, I believe that Ian, in that he is the freshman, doesn't know the back players that well. This is another thing that will take a little bit of time to work out. Getting back to that change of field, Peter, first of all, what do we mean by change of field? And second, how is that going to affect, or how could it affect the play here today?
Well, when the play is going on one side of the field, as, for example, William Mary's been attacking the left side extensively, when you switch fields, you usually have a player running down the opposite side of the field, and if he's out of the play, people don't pay as much attention to him. And if you can switch the ball quickly over to him, you can gain an advantage of a couple seconds and several yards of space, and it's often very effective in offensive strategy.
So what we mean basically by that is if we were on the far side of the field, quickly knock it to the near side of the field and then go forward.
That's right.
And the benefit there is creating some space to work.
And some time also. But it's hard to do that on this field. possibly because it's a bit smaller than most fields. I think that was an effort at acting there a little bit.
I think so. Cushing probably could have gone on with it. Brown is over it now. Andy Chudowski standing with him. This could be dangerous.
Ian is shouting out
Chudowski
instructions.
plays it into the wall, and the quick counter, that's just not well done.
Now again, we were speaking, that's not a complete change of field, but he was trying to switch the ball long, but he was not successful.
The Hartwick player has it. Ian Peter does a great job, one-on-one. Number 9, Pat Cruikshank from Hartwick, won the ball in the box, took Ian Peter on, and Ian comes up with a big save.
Fine play by the goalkeeper there. Very quick to come out.
Ian is a fine athlete. Technically, he needs some work, but as far as, I think, aggressiveness and his desire to play, it's all in the heart. And speaking with him the other night, he just loves to be there.
He's very confident in his abilities also.
Corner kick. Andy Chudowski plays it high and wide. Miranda challenges, well in. Mark Metric. Pat Cruikshank has been called for handling the ball inside the area. William & Mary will play direct. And it's in play, and we go on.
I think Richard Miranda has moved up a little bit. Maybe he's trying to add something to the offense. He's perhaps playing midfield now.
At this point, I believe we will need to go forward. The William & Mary team will need to go forward. We have a substitution as well.
23.
Tim Larkin, freshman midfielder from Fairfax, Virginia, has come on to play.
Larkin's from Robinson High School, where Scott Repke and Rob Olson, who was the first of the Robinson boys to come out there, and Adam Hogue is also from Robinson.
I guess William & Mary has a few areas where they get their players from. One is Northern Virginia. Where would some of the other ones be, Pete?
They've in the past traditionally gotten a lot of fine players from Long Island, and
I played at William & Mary,
and
74 to 78.
and also they get some from New York and Canada also. They've had Scott Bell's from Canada, and they've had some fine players: John McManus, Graham Sykes, Steve Gallup, Bill Watson. Actually, Bill Watson was the first of the Canadians, and he sort of set the stage for the rest of the fine players.
Three-year All-American. Now is back in Canada. Darcy Curran plays to Glenn Livingston. William & Mary seems to have spread out and settled down.
Seems to have calmed down a little bit, yeah. Except when you have
Andy Smolin missed the tackle. Cushing goes forward. That's nice play by Glenn Livingston. He cut that off well.
It's a fine ball there. William & Mary seems to be spreading it out a bit.
I tend to enjoy this type of soccer, which I know we're capable of playing a little bit more.
Perhaps it's the fact that they think they're not as nervous now. They're just going out to play their game. They may have acknowledged that they're in a bad situation as far as winning this game. So they're just going to go out there and show what they can do.
That is some nice soccer from Hartwick. A good change of field. And Timmy Larkin goes to ground to knock it away. These William & Mary players, and I can say for the Hartwick players as well, there's no lack of heart.
Yeah.
They challenge hard, they play hard.
Well, this is a good opportunity for Larkin to show what he can do. He is a freshman. This is his first collegiate game, and I'm sure that he's ready to play.
First of all, but Jack White sees the foul. Referee Jack White.
I think the Hartwick player sort of invited that foul. He heard Repke coming and stuck his body there and sort of drew that foul, I guess you would say.
Isn't that a function of players with experience that
Yes.
can do those types of things,
Yes.
that know to ask, when the ball may have gone over and may not?
Well, back players, and you'll see the experienced back players doing this, there's several ways you can draw fouls on the forward just by standing there letting the forward run into you. And you may see that later on.
We have the direct kick set up here. That's Brown. And I believe it's Cruikshank. over the ball. Look for Cushing. Cushing near us. Knocked into the wall. Played over the top. Offside! Oh, nicely done. No goal. Nicely done by William and Mary. They allowed the offside trap to work that time.
And the goalkeeper came out well there, although.
Al is definitely sticking to his guns with that philosophy. And I believe as the season goes on, the mistakes and the concentration that it requires to do that type of offside trap will improve. Then Livingston gives it away, and that play goes on. Ian Peter again, great save. And cleared off the line by Darcy Curran. And we have a goal kick. Smart play by Darcy. He knew it was going away and let it run.
Goalkeeper came out very well there again.
I think Ian is showing that good athletic ability. He made up a good 10 yards.
Yes.
Yeah, just quickly.
You have to wonder, Charlie, what effect the fact that William Mary had little time to prepare for this game.
Well, I know it was a concern of Al.
Yes, he expressed that, and I'm wondering now, the lapses they had, I wonder if that had anything to do with the fact they haven't actually played a full scrimmage with this team.
Brown again. Nicely done. That is a tremendous goal. Mark Metric again. Oh, my God. Super stuff. I'll tell you, these players are just fine players.
That player, he came in completely unmarked there. There was a breakdown again. I don't know what happened there. But
every goal, as you well know, Peter, is reducible to a number of mistakes, and it doesn't start with the guy who put it in the goal and his man. It starts well up the field. We have Brown again doing a great job to beat players, get himself available to knock it across. You know, poor marking, which allowed Metric to come in unchallenged and stick it away. But he can finish, can he?
Oh, he certainly can. This Hartwick team finishes as well as any college team I've seen. They just don't waste their opportunities.
Cushing plays that one.
I'd say the only one they've missed is the one that Brown missed after that great save by Aguilar. They just put away everything they've gotten.
If you're just joining us, we're here with 23:30 left in the second half. Hartwick College over William and Mary 5-1. Brown again.
Oh, he fell down with the ball.
It's William Mary's ball. Brown there.
Hey, was that what you call a goal?
Referee would call that what, Peter?
Dangerous play.
And William and Mary will play it indirect.
Yes.
Smile on his face.
And Peter plays the ball forward, and he gets good distance on those.
That's a handball there.
Jack White, referee, allows it to go on. For the fans that aren't quite familiar with why that was allowed to go on, Pete, can you tell us a little bit about?
Well, he might say that it wasn't an intentional play, or it didn't affect the play, and I guess he'd call it if the player intentionally tried to control the ball with his hands. And it didn't have much effect there. He would have trapped it and everything.
We have a whistle has gone off, and we're bringing on a substitute. No, we're not.
Oh my!
Oh,
that's very poor marking.
That is terrible marking. Ian Peter again has made tremendous saves. Oh, that's at least 1v1. He has come in and made great saves. The Hartwick player was number 14, Carl Reese. So that's the first time we've seen him really do some significant work.
I think I was speaking to John Daly earlier about his role in keeping players mentally in the game. I think he's going to have to keep that role up because there's been some poor marking here. People are just getting away. Could be the heat, and it is late in the game, but there's still no excuse for it.
Next, no, get up on it.
Derek Connell
Derek
on the
has
far
shown well today, I
touchline.
think.
This is his first game.
Yes, and he's been playing well. It's just William Mary hasn't given him much support up front. The midfielders aren't helping him a lot.
Well, I guess Steve wants to do anything.
It's off the head of Darcy Curran, and Hartwick will throw it in the near touch line. Paul Reese, right back, steps up, picks it up, and he will throw it in.
I can see your ear, man. How gross it is, man. How gross it is. It's a bad life.
Referee has stopped the clock, and we have a player down on the field.
What's his number?
It's number 16, Ian Frazier, the captain. That's the second time he's been down in this match. And he appears to be either with head injury, Peter?
Yes, it looks like that.
We have had a substitute come on. And as soon as I can get his number, we'll let you know who that is. That's number 6. Some good work in the box. Cushing makes a great effort, blocked by Glenn Livingston, and Tim Larkin knocks it out of bounds.
Larkin's showing some quickness back there. It's not.
Jack White gives William and Mary the direct kick. That's a nice change for Todd Middlebrook. And Andy Smallin from the back going forward. And he's taken down.
That guy's a punk.
Scott Smith takes Smolin down. A little bit far out, I guess, for
He might try a.
Oh, William Mary will get the corner out of it.
They'll take that.
Some substitutions coming on now. I believe that's Keith Exton and Richard Wong, another Williamsburg player, is a freshman. Richard Wong from Walsingham Academy here in Williamsburg. Al is very, very excited about having Richard here. He's a good, quick player around the box. Oh, and he almost has an effort there. Good driven ball. Hartwick in control. Metric again, running free in the midfield. Keith Exton controls. And Repke plays forward. Repke with possession. Nice ball. Scott Bell unbelievably hits the goalpost. Tremendous effort by Scotty Bell. That's some great work. Glenn Livingston providing a great header.
That would have been the goal of the match had that gone in.
I believe so. That's Scott Bell's strength, though, isn't it? His ability to
finish and to just strike the balls cleanly. He's just
throw in Glenn Livingston, and he is strong. Well driven in there.
Shoot that.
Finish. Oh, yes, a super goal. Timmy Larkin finishes. And did William and Mary need it or what? Tremendous stuff.
That was a very fine goal.
Seems like a new team. They're just injected with confidence.
He brought that ball down and just put it in the back of the net. Fine goal.
Excellent, excellent goal. With 17:58 left in the match, score now reads Hartwick 5, William and Mary 2.
We've seen some comebacks here. Last year, William Mary was down 3-1 to George Mason in the ECAC South Championships. They came back to win 4-3.
That was a fine match.
That was a tremendous game. And it's not out of the question, but against a team like Hartwick, you have to respect their ability to hang on to this lead.
You can expect they're not going to make that many mistakes in the back, and their ability to finish is significant. Richard Wong gets up in a nice header, and offside's called there. Cushing, he does not look too happy. It's number 18 of Hartwick, but the linesman has the flag. Miranda to play the ball forward, and he does. Livingston to Repke overlapping. Again, Scott Repke goes to the ground to challenge. Nice stuff. He's just a hard worker, Scott.
Yeah.
That's nicely done. And there's going to... Wong does a good job for William and Mary to knock it out of play. Slows down that quick counterattack by Hartwick.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's Metric again. Oh, we have an offside. Greg Brown. Couldn't have been more than a step. It appears that Andy Smolin has gone to mark Metric now. Does that... Yeah, because he's moved up into the midfield.
It's probably a combination of that and wanting him to get some goals late in the game.
Jimmy Larkin attempts the header for William and Mary, but it's controlled and out of bounds. Clock is stopped. Andy Smolin going to the touch line.
Are you sure about that?
And Smolin is out of the game.
16 minutes left. Yeah, I'd say, you know, 16 minutes left.
Replacing Andy Smolin was Don DeCharia.
Oh, yeah.
I expect to see Smokes back, though.
I'm not sure what the problem is. We just wanted some water or to adjust some
equipment
tape job or something like that.
Richard Miranda now taking the goal kick for William and Mary. Exton controlling, nicely done. And pressured by Scott Smith. And won by Hartwick.
It's hard to tell from up here, Charlie, but it doesn't seem that there's that much communication between the players down there. I'm not sure if Keith knew he was so well covered there. He might not have tried to turn. I don't know.
That is critical, though, isn't it? At this
Absolutely. You have so little time and space here that's essential that your teammates tell you where...
Keith Exton will have an effort and knocks it wide.
As I was saying, it's essential that you have communication so you know where you are in relation to your opponent. William Mary's getting some offense in here.
It does seem that there has been a little bit of a change. They seem to be playing with a little bit more confidence. Mike Colaris.
It's Darcy. It's look-alike.
Darcy? Okay.
You lied.
William and Mary gets that throw in. Don DeCharia to toss it in. Exton to control. Todd Middlebrook. Fine ball. Well done. If Exton can get to it. Unlucky. Michael Harrison. A fine goalkeeper from Hartwick. Except for that one mistake early on, he's been doing
Very
a good
effective,
job.
yes. X needed a couple steps there, and he might have had a goal.
Scott Bell.
Oh, I'm not sure about that one.
Scott Bell called for the push, and Hartwick will play direct from there. Carl Rees looked as if he played and comes away. They're going to knock this right into the box. There it is. Hartwick will throw it in from the far corner. Pat Cruikshank with the ball now, throwing to Cushing short. Nicely done. And Glenn Livingston recovers, put the ball over the end line for the corner kick. Pete, do you feel like with having the track there that it's inhibiting the Hartwick players from really getting the proper run to get the service they'd like?
It may inhibit them a little, but I haven't seen any indication that their kicks have been poor because of it. They've had no problem with their corners.
Oh, the linesman flags offsides. And there's some discussion there. goes up. William & Mary will get the kick direct. Carl Reese pushing Scott Bell, and Darcy Curran will take the kick. We're now approaching 12 minutes left in the match. Carl Reese plays it out for the Hartwick team, and Scott Bell will give it to the Rock, Glenn Livingston, to toss in. And he does have good service, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Played. There was no one in there for that. That was a fine throw. William & Mary should have had a player.
Look at this counterattack. Ian Peter comes well out of the goal. Nicely done. Good decision by Ian. Todd Middlebrook being challenged, and it's out of bounds, and William & Mary will have the throw. Linesman on the far side, Bob Cummings, former Christopher Newport College coach, very involved in refereeing here in the Williamsburg and Newport News area. Throwing again, Timmy Larkin, number 23, to Don DeCharia. Plays across. Mike Harrison picks it up cleanly. Cushing again. Pete, are you impressed with Cushing's play?
Yes, I am. I think he's a tough forward. He's playing against some fine defenders, and he's done very well. That alone is an indication he's a very good player.
Controlled by William & Mary out of the back. Keith Exton to Scotty Bell. There's some discussion there, but I don't think there's much hope he'll ever get any results from the referee. I'll bring that to you. Ed Perry, freshman from Virginia Beach, is on. Chariot plays it. That's dangerous, and no challenge on the goalkeeper.
Well, you don't want to let him have the ball this close.
Oh, Brown is in again. He's just beaten 3 players, and a great shot on goal. You are watching one of the finest forwards that will play in this stadium this year. He takes on 3 players and beats them. That's some super work. He has caused so much grief, hasn't he, today for the William & Mary back players.
Very quick.
Cushing was down briefly. He's up. Looks like he's walking off, a little twist on the ankle. Darcy Curran attempts to clear. Richard Wong gets a hold of it, and
we're seeing a lot of substitutions.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. There are some new players on.
Bill Eisner's in for the try.
I'm sure Al will give, with about 7.5 minutes left to play, he may give some of the newer players.
I'm sure he's pleased with the play of Larkin. He came in and scored that fine goal, and he's played off well all around. He was injured early in the preseason, and there were some doubts whether he'd be ready, but Chuck Boyles, the trainer here, did a great job on him and got him ready.
It might be a good time just to mention that as the program has grown, Chuck and the whole training staff at the college have been extremely receptive.
Oh, yeah.
Pete, and I guess you had some injury along the way.
When I was here my last year here, I had a severe ankle injury, and Chuck was just great, and I got back after a short while. They're just very good at what they do here.
Ian Peter, the goalkeeper for William & Mary, has the ball, and he will play it forward. And he plays it away.
It's one of the few miscues he's made so far. He's played a fine game.
I believe so. He continues to play well. There's a job there to get. But I know Bobby's a strong player, and he works hard, and we expect to see good play from Bob.
No, as I was saying earlier, the goals that were given were just fine one-on-one goals. A keeper, you can't expect a keeper to do anything in that situation.
And I think if we focus on the goalkeepers just a little, we haven't really had those great shots from 18, 20 yards where the keepers have had to actually make the shot-stopping save. Tongue to Chariot with possession now. Does a nice job, but doesn't give Richard Wong much to work with. Looking at Hartwick around the goal mouth, putting some pressure on William and Mary. Brown again, he's always involved. Rich Miranda doing a nice job. He comes away with it. That's nice play by Richard Miranda. And a nice play to Timmy Larkin. Richard is a stalwart back there.
Yes, he is. He had a tremendous freshman year. Sophomore year was good, and then last year he was injured and redshirted. It's the first game he's played in over a year, so.
I guess team leadership has been a concern for Al, and do you feel he's looking to players like Richard and Andy Smolin and Todd Middlebrook?
Right. Well, Todd, of course, is the captain, and he's a four-year starter here. And Andy will provide leadership just because of his personality and the fact that he is playing sweeper. So I think that after a couple games, there'll be absolutely no problem with the point of leadership. And Richard, of course, this is his fourth year here, although he's got another year of eligibility because of his red shirt status.
Cushing had an opportunity there. It was taken down. Jack White said, go on with it. And that's the referee's discretion.
It's a nice play there by both Smolin and Larkin. Yeah. Larkin's shown a lot today. I think he's playing fine.
I agree with you. I have been impressed with his play. Oh, Andy Smolin. I'm not sure he was quite aware of his field position there.
Well, he's trying to be another Darcy Kernan here, so that doesn't happen very often. Oh, Smolin did score one of the best goals I've ever seen against American University a couple of years ago. He scored a 25, 30-yard shot like that.
We have some more substitutions, and that's Cushing coming off. And he has played just a super game.
Yes, he has. I think that Greg Brown has been the more flashy player, but Cushing has certainly been as effective. He's occupied the stopper and the sweeper, so
seems like
his job.
Jim Lennox has put together a front runner system that can pay some good dividends.
I think we're going to hear a lot more from Hartwick. They're going to be in the thick of the NCAAs after this season.
That's a nice change of field there to Smith. And that's a brilliant run. Richard Miranda, nicely done.
Very nice. That's a veteran's play right there. He just stepped over the ball.
Ian Peter plays that one away.
They can't afford to be giving the ball away at this point, although.
We're now at 2.5 minutes left in the match. Again, the score, 5-2. Hartwick leads.
William Mary's still playing aggressively, still playing tight marking. There's a chance.
Nicely done. Richard Wong will play that first time across. Oh, unlucky. Linesman right there to call it away.
Fine play by, is that Larkin? The one who kept it in bounds.
I believe so, yes. Give me Larkin again. And Scott Smith going off for Hartwick again. Just a fine, solid performance.
Well, that was Scott Bell who kept that ball in bounds. He has the same 102-pound weakling build as Larkin, so it's hard to tell them apart.
There's no doubt there. He should go in the book for that. There's no doubt why Richard took him down. And in fact, Jack puts him in. Yellow card, there it is. Everyone in the park knows why he did it.
I think, Charlie, if nothing else, this game has been a benefit in the fact that Ian Peter now knows that he has the ability. He certainly had a fine game, and Larkin, I guess Deshar has played well. All the young kids, the next game, they will have played Hartwick, and you can't get much better than that. So
that was that unknown factor John
That's right.
Daly spoke of in our pregame interview. If these kids can come in and play,
I think they've done a fine job.
There'd be no doubt about that. And Peter, you've played ball at William and Mary for 4 years, as I did as well. We really do look to see growth from game to game, don't we?
Yes, especially as we were saying, when you're a freshman coming in here, it's just there's a world of difference between college and high school soccer. It takes a couple games before you can realize that there are a lot of fine players on the field.
There are. It's faster and it is contact.
Yes, I think the difference is the speed. You can get away with being a little bit slow in high school, but in college they make you pay for it.
It's Bill Eisner, number 18.
Nice play there.
To DeCharia.
I think that's been the breakdown all game. They get the ball down the side, send in the middle, and they just don't succeed in doing anything from then on. There have been exceptions, of course, like Bell's great shot, but...
Well, I'm sure Al will have a lot to evaluate. Good and bad. And I think we have seen a lot of positive, elements today. And Scott Bell is through! Oh, that's a penalty. He's been taken down! There's no doubt there. Penalty kick.
No question. That's about as clear a penalty as you'll ever see.
That's true. He had beaten the goalkeeper, Michael Harrison. He had open goal, one step away from the ball. And time has run out, but the penalty will be taken. There can be no doubt there. That's pretty much the classic foul.
I believe Scott will take this kick. He was taking some kicks yesterday. I'm not quite sure, but I think he may have been designated as the penalty kicker for the team. He strikes the ball very well.
I believe it may make the game a little bit more representative as well on the final tally.
Yes, I think the second half, William Mary's had the better of the play, with the exception of those first few minutes where Hartwick just got those 3 quick goals.
And it is a credit. Goal scoring is a critical element for William and Mary this year, and there are 2 goals on the board now and a good opportunity to make it 3.
That's true.
If they can produce that 2, 3, 4 goals a game, they'll be competitive with anyone, I believe. Scotty Bell takes it, puts it away. Fine job.
That does make the final score a little bit more representative and respectable in the eyes of the rest of the people who will hear about this game.
And I believe we'll have to see if there is any time left now. Jack White stopped the clock at the penalty with, it seemed like, merely seconds to go.
We saw a lot of goals today.
That's true. There has been enough action to keep it interesting.
The scoreboard has not yet indicated the change.
Right.
The score here is now 5-3.
And there are a few seconds left. The players walking around. And the final whistle blows. And that's the end of the game. There will be some players congratulating each other. It's been a hard-fought game. And Pete, can you sum up a little bit about the nature of the game and some ideas on where William and Mary can go from here?
Well, I think William and Mary knew coming into this game that they were playing a very fine team. And you just, against a team like this, as I've said before, you can't have any breakdowns at all. And William and Mary did have the breakdowns, especially in the beginning of the second half. They had those 2 defensive lapses, and Hartwick just pounced on them and scored. Again, as we were saying earlier, William and Mary did show some bright spots. They had some good plays. They showed that they can score goals. And I'm sure that Al Albert will have a lot to say to the team this upcoming week. And as they prepare, they have a very tough opening schedule. They're playing West Virginia, American, Alderson brought us, and they have their work cut out for them, but I think they've got the players. They just have to settle down and do what they can do.